I designed this crocheted pumpkin with the boho decorating style that is so popular right now. The diamond stitch pattern gives it a gorgeous texture, while the tassels add a boho flair. It can be easily adjusted to any size desirable with any hook and any yarn. Stay tuned! For a full supply list, see the description box below. For all of my boho pumpkins, I use beads for both the stem and the tassels. You don't have to, but I just like to. And for this one, I used a piece of scrap leather. And for this one, I used a pipe cleaner. And in both instances, I had to use hot glue to attach. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn in the color Sun Gold. I'm also going to be using an I 5.5mm hook. I'm using that because that's what the yarn label recommends for this particular yarn. If you choose to use a different yarn, just use the hook that is recommended. Begin by making a slip knot, leaving a tail of about 6 to 8 inches for sewing purposes later. Now you will make a chain in multiples of 4 until it measures twice the measurement of the width of your pumpkin. So if you want your pumpkin to be 5 inches wide, you're going to make your chain length 10 inches. That is the size that I'm going for, so I am chaining 36 in this particular tutorial. And as you see, it measures 10 inches or 25 centimeters. Now, being very careful not to twist your chain, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain that you created. Now you're going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in every chain stitch around. So you should still have a multiple of 4, or if you are following my pattern exactly here, you should have 36 half double crochet at the end of round 1. So here I am at the end of round 1, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first half double crochet that I made. Now you will chain 1, it will not count as a stitch. We're going to be working into the posts of the half double crochet of round 1. So we're going to be working around these posts. I'm going to begin by making a back post half double crochet in the very first stitch. In the next stitch, I'm going to make a front post half double crochet. In the next stitch, I'm going to make a back post half double crochet. And in the next stitch, a front post half double crochet. You should see the pattern forming here. I am simply alternating back post and front post half double crochet in each stitch around. Since I began on a back post half double crochet, I need to end on a front post half double crochet. So just continue in this fashion until you reach the end of this round. You should still only have 36 stitches if you are following my pattern exactly, or if you chose to do a different stitch count, a multiple of 4. So just continue repeating this pattern and I'll meet you at the end. So here I am at the end. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first back post half double crochet that I created. And this is what it should look like. It should be pretty stretchy. Now I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to speed up the video and meet you at the end of this round. Just put 1 half double crochet in the top of each stitch in every stitch around. Here I am at the end of round 3. I've placed 1 half double in every stitch, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch. Here's where the fun stitch pattern begins. We are going to be working into the front post half double crochet of round 2. Now we're going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in the first 2 stitches of this round. For the stitch pattern, we are going to be working into the front post half double crochet from 2 rounds below. So we're going to be working in this one and this one. We're going to be skipping the middle one. So double crochet 2 together over the front post half double crochet in the 2 stitches that I indicated. We're skipping that one. Now we have to pay close attention and make sure that we have a post here, a post here, and a post here. There should always be one front post half double crochet in the middle that we are skipping. And because we created a stitch, we need to skip a stitch so we don't accidentally increase. That stitch will be directly behind your hook. So we're going to skip the next stitch and put 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Now we are going to repeat the process. We are going to double crochet 2 together over the last front post half double crochet from 2 rounds below. And then we'll skip the next front post half double and go into the next front post half double. This is how it should look. You should have 2 stitches sharing 1 post. And then you're going to be skipping the front post half doubles in the center. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and put 1 half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And repeat the process. Double crochet 2 together over the last post stitch 2 rounds below. We will skip the next front post stitch and go into the next front post stitch 2 rounds below. This is what it should look like. Skip the next stitch behind your hook and make 1 half double in the next 3 stitches. Now you're going to double crochet 2 together over the last front post half double crochet. Skip the next front post half double and go into the next front post half double. skip the stitch behind your hook and half double in the next 3 stitches. This is what it should look like. You should have 3 half double crochet in between each point of your stitch pattern, and you should be skipping 1 front post half double crochet from round 2, 2 rounds below. So just keep repeating that all the way till you get to the last stitch. Here we are at our last 3 half doubles. I wanted to show you the last double crochet 2 together. Your last 2 will be sharing the post from the ones before and the one that you began with. And now you will place 1 half double in the very last stitch because you're going to skip the stitch behind your hook. And now you will simply slip stitch into the top of your first half double. This is how it should look. Now you're going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in every stitch around to the end. Be very careful that you have not accidentally increased on that round below. So here I am at the end of the round, and I'm going to place a slip stitch into the top of my first half double crochet. This is what your piece should look like. Now you're going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. Now we're going to repeat the stitch pattern, only this time we're going to be working into the points from our stitch pattern. So you're going to double crochet 2 together, going around the point of our diamond stitch 2 rounds below. And of course, we will have to skip the stitch behind our hook. Place 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And now we're going to work our stitch pattern, going backward and forward like we have been. Double crochet 2 together over the points. Now you have to skip the stitch behind your hook and place 1 half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And now you will double crochet 2 together over the last point and over the next point from 2 rounds below. You should start seeing a pattern forming here. There should be 3 half doubles in between each double crochet 2 together. and don't forget to skip the stitch behind your hook. You're going to repeat this all the way around till you get to the end. Here I have my last 3 half doubles, and I'm going to work my double crochet 2 together over the last 2 points of the round. In the very last stitch, you are going to place a half double crochet. Now you will slip stitch into the top of your first half double. This is what it should look like. So the stitch pattern is created by repeating the last 2 rounds. So now we will do a round of half double. Chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in every stitch around. Here I am at the end, and I'm slip stitching into the top of my first half double crochet. This is what your piece should look like. You're just going to repeat the stitch pattern round and the half double crochet round over and over until it measures 1 inch smaller than the width of your pumpkin. Chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. Now we're going to be working into the points from 2 rounds below, and we're going to double crochet 2 together over the points from 2 rounds below. Skip the stitch behind your hook and place 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And repeat. Double crochet 2 together over the last and the next 2 points. Skip the stitch behind your hook and half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Double crochet 2 together over the last and the next 2 points. Skip the stitch behind your hook and half double in the next 3 stitches. Just continue to repeat this pattern all the way around till you get to the last stitch. When you get to the last stitch, don't forget to put your half double crochet in that last stitch. There should be 3 half doubles in between each point. So you're going to continue the half double crochet round and the stitch pattern round until your piece measures 1 inch shorter than the width of your pumpkin. Here I have one already ready to be finished off. I finished on a half double crochet round, and now I'm ready to finish off my pumpkin. So it's about 6 inches stretched wide and about 5 inches tall. So you want it to be approximately 1 inch shorter than it is wide. That just gives it a more pumpkin appearance. We're going to do 2 finishing rounds. So to begin, we're going to repeat round 2 from below. So chain 1 and start with a back post half double crochet. And then in the next stitch, a front post half double crochet. Then another back post half double crochet. and a front post half double crochet. So just like we did in round 2, we're going to alternate front post and back post half double crochets. Since we began on a back post half double, you need to end on a front post half double. So I'm going to speed up the video and meet you there. So here I am at the end. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my first back post half double. And for this last round, I'm going to chain 1 and place 1 single crochet in the same stitches I joined. And then I'm just going to simply skip the next stitch and put a single crochet in the next stitch. So essentially we're decreasing, and I'm just putting a single crochet in every back post half double crochet from the round below. So just repeat that all the way around. So here I am at the end. I'm skipping the last stitch and slip stitching into the top. And as you can see, the top is slightly smaller than the bottom. So I'm going to fasten off, leaving me a generous tail. So again, the top is slightly smaller than the bottom here, and I'm just going to thread the bottom strand that I began with onto a yarn needle, and I'm going to cinch it closed. And how I do that is I'm just going to whip stitch in the back loop only of the beginning chain. The less you grab onto here, the less it bunches up. So that's why I chose to just go through one loop of the chain. As you can see, there's still a rather large hole here, and I'm just going to close it by sewing it shut. So once you've sewn it shut, just simply knot it off, but do not fasten off. Leave that strand of yarn there at the bottom. We're going to use it later. So now I'm going to lightly stuff my pumpkin. I'm just going to put a little bit of stuffing in there. You don't want to overstuff it. If you overstuff it, then you won't be able to make it shape like a pumpkin. Now thread your ending tail into a yarn needle, and once again go through the back loop only this time I'm going through the single crochets that I made on the last finishing round. Now before I cinch it completely permanently shut, I'm just testing it to see how well the top and the bottom comes together, and I feel like I've maybe overstuffed it. So now I'm going to take out some of the stuffing. I'm much more satisfied with this. The better the top and the bottom come together, the more it will look like a pumpkin and less like an apple. So now I'm going to cinch it shut, and I'm going to take my yarn needle and put it through the pumpkin all the way through to the bottom. And I'm going to have my yarn needle come out the bottom of the pumpkin. So just pull that tail to the bottom. And we're going to use these two ending and beginning tails to close it shut. You see how much more it looks like a pumpkin? So I'm going to just tie these two together to make it more permanent. Now I'm just going to take those tails and hide them inside the pumpkin itself. There's really no method to this. I just shove it in there, pull it out at a random spot, and cut off the excess. Now I'm going to show you how I did the pumpkin stem. So I just have this scrap leather that I bought at Hobby Lobby in a huge bag, and then I bought these beads from Michael's on clearance for pretty cheap, 97 cents a strand. I'm going to use probably just the smaller ones mostly, but for the pumpkin stem, you just simply tie a knot at one end of the leather strap. And then you're going to put one larger and one smaller bead onto the leather. So just push it up to the knot. And then you make another knot. It's as simple as that. So here I'm showing you that I'm going to hot glue that on. So I just cut it to the quick, and then for the top part I kind of leave just a little bit of excess there. But there's really no rhyme or reason. I'm just going to hot glue that right there. Now for the tassels, I made a two-ended tassel. So basically you cut a length of yarn that's probably 2 or 3 feet long. I didn't measure, sorry. And then you're going to just set it aside for now. You're going to make tassel tails, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I like to use my fingers. You could also use a piece of cardboard that's 4 inches wide. I think I wrapped my fingers 15 times here. You could do it more or less if you want a fatter tassel or if you want a thinner tassel. It's up to you. All right, and then I take that long strand and tie it around the center. This is only going to be one end of the tassel. I'm going to tie it in a knot. And then I'm going to put both ends together and thread it onto a yarn needle. And because this pumpkin is rather small, I'm just going to use one bead for each end of my tassel. And I'm going to use the smaller beads. So just push that bead all the way to that tassel. Now since this is a two-ended tassel, I need another bead before I add my other tassel. So go ahead and thread another bead onto both ends. You don't need to go very far with it, just a few inches up. So now I've got to create the tassel tails for the other side. So once again, I'm going to wrap my fingers about 15 times. And then open the tails just below that second bead and tie it together. You have to be a little careful here, otherwise your bead will slide up, but it's no big deal because you can just slide it right back down. I will insert my little tip here. I made this too long. I later had to go and shorten the piece of yarn in between the two tassels. It was just too long. So really it should have been a lot shorter in between those two tassels. So then I cut two lengths of yarn that's probably about 6 or 8 inches long, and I'm going to tie off the tassel tails to keep them together. I'm going to do that about 1 inch below that bead there. Go ahead and knot it off. And then there's usually one that wants to go wild, so I usually just thread it onto my yarn needle and tuck it back into the tassel to kind of help keep it down. Then I just take a pair of scissors and cut the ends evenly. I usually do this with a better pair of scissors, but I couldn't find them. Make sure you have a sharp pair of scissors for that. Then you're just going to repeat the process to the other one. So this is what your two-ended tassel should look like. Again, I should have made that center part quite a bit shorter. After I hot glue the stem to the pumpkin, I tie it around at staggering lengths. And that's it. Your boho pumpkin is complete. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.